Let's work on our next example. To surprise friends, Brian is renting out a bowling alley for his birthday. The bowling alley charges $60 setup fee and $25 per hour for usage. Brian has saved $120 for this event. How many hours can Brian rent the alley? So first thing I'm going to do is probably A, represent the variable or choose a variable and then write the inequality. So I'm just going to, my apologies here, let H represent the number of hours. That is the only unknown that we have in front of us, because the question literally asks how many hours. I don't know, you got me. So let A represent the number of hours. And if I let H represent a variable, perhaps I could use this to solve this question. So if I read this, one question that stuck out to me is Brian has saved $120 for this event. I think another way to look at the wording of this is Brian can spend less than or equal to $120. So here, this is $120 we have to create an expression that is less than or equal to $120. Hopefully that has hours in the expression. So perhaps this is going to represent, the left-hand side is going to represent the cost. So the cost is, I have a $60 setup fee, no matter what is the setup fee. And then I know that I have to pay $25 per hour. Fair enough. So I'm into solving this problem. Here we go. What I'm going to do is I notice that this might be a two-step inequality problem. I'm going to isolate H on the left-hand side. First thing I'm going to do is probably subtract 60 from both sides. And if I subtract 60 from both sides, $60 subtract 60 represents 0. So on the right-hand side, I have 25H is less than or equal to 120 minus 60, which is 60. So H, or 25 times H, is less than 60. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide both sides by 25. Now this seems odd for sure, so let me just take out my calculator. So H is less than or equal to 2.4 H, and this is 2.4 hours. So what is the question asking? Well, we have this inequality here. Brian can rent the hall for 2.4 hours. Okay, real life scenario, if you go up to the bowling alley and say, hey, can I rent this for 2.4 hours? They might say, no, we only rent it in full hour increments. On the other hand, they might say, well, we rent it in half-hour increments, and if you rent it for 2.5 hours, which is 2.5 hours, you won't have enough money. So Brian has a decision to make in real life. In the math problem, he just has to make sure that